So when I look at this question, two methods jump to mind, and either one would be perfectly legitimate. So let's look at both. I would suggest watching to the end so that you're comfortable that either way, whether you're checking yourself or if they have a question that they lead in one direction or the other, you're perfectly comfortable either way. The first method that comes to mind is y equals mx plus b. And we look at this, and it is certainly a linear relationship, nice straight line. And so linear relationship we can certainly represent with our y equals mx plus b. Now, let's think about this. The b is our y-intercept, and we take a look at that. And the y-intercept, it goes through 0. So that's easy enough. The m is our slope, recall. And so the slope is our rise over the run. And so let's take a look at the graph here, the rise over the run. So 2 points that cross the grid nicely. Here's a nice intersection point there. And we'll just use the 0 as well. And let's draw in a triangle. And so this would be our rise here, and this would be our run. So the rise goes from 0 to 45, so we can say the rise is $45. The run is 0 to 2, so 2 hours. And so now we can put that together and say $45 over 2 hours is 22.5, and our units would be dollars per hour. Okay, so now let's put this together as y equals 22.5 for our m, x, and then there was no b, so we'll just leave that off. And so our question we go back to is 18 hours. So when x is 18, what is y? Easy to find out at this point. 22.5 times 18 is equal to, and we can pull out the calculator, $405. And so, nice simple way to come up with an answer there. Another way to do it is somebody might look at this and instead of thinking, okay, it's a linear relationship, let's roll with that, might just be thinking, well, let's think in terms of ratios. So we can see in the same way as we determine the rise over run, we can say, well, the ratio of the earnings to hours would be, we can see that there's $45 per 2 hours. So now we say, well, what's the equivalent ratio if we're not talking about 2 hours, but we're talking about 18 hours? Because we know that will be either a similar triangle or it'll be the same ratio. In other words, they're getting paid the same rate no matter how many hours, so we can look at that as the same ratio. So what we're looking for then, we could just throw in an x there and say that's our unknown. And so we could multiply both sides by 18 and work it out that way. Or you could say, how did we get from 2 to 18? Well, we had to multiply by 9. And so whatever we do to the bottom, we do to the top, and then we just say 45 times 9 is equal to, pull out the calculator and confirm that again, $405. So either way is perfectly legit, and you can justify it nice and easily as shown. So as long as you're laying out your work and explaining yourself, either way would be great.